Function with Purpose podcast. All things health, wellness, fitness, and education through the physical therapy perspective. I am Dr. Amy Bullock, owner and founder of Fortress Physical Therapy. Fortress PT is here to serve the Charlotte metro area by highlighting the importance of how and why physical therapy should be a part of your health and wellness lifestyle. Here we go. Dr. Amy here. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 8 of the Function with Purpose podcast. Hopefully y'all are doing awesome today. This is an awesome topic that I don't think the majority of the public is aware about. So, check out this title. Double dipping physical therapists. Yeah, double dipping. What? So, do you or can you have 2 or 3 or 4 physical therapists in your back pocket? What does it even mean, Dr. Amy? Who says it's not okay to have a couple of PTs to reach out to for different ailments that may pop up here and there as you go through life, as you achieve pursuits, as you train for that marathon, as you train for that hike or that local CrossFit competition or even the CrossFit Games? There is no rule that says you can't double dip physical therapists, right? Because seeing a PT, perhaps in a hospital-based outpatient clinic, is very, very much different than seeing a PT who owns their private practice, i.e., like myself, Fortress Physical Therapy. I think double dipping, having a couple go-to physios that you have a strong relationship with, who can see the value and they just get it. I think that's definitely a huge check mark in my book, right? Because I want to have a strong healthcare team to refer to. So who says you can't have 2 or 3 or however many physical therapists in your back pocket? So I want to give you a prime example. And this is just awesome. I mean, this is like the legit timeline, the legit overall patient experience. Shout out to Jerry Durham if you're listening to this. He's a PT from Philly. He's awesome too. Met him at AAOMPT conference a couple years ago. Anywho, so I currently have a patient right now. I'm not going to name names, but her father, right before the pandemic began back in 2020, wow, that's like 2.5 years from now, almost 3. I was seeing her father for some Achilles tendonitis type stuff and just some like plantar fasciitis that kind of developed with his training, and then some. And it was funny because I get this message from her, the patient, saying, she sent me an email and was like, "Hey, my name is so-and-so. I was referred to you by my dad who saw you a while back. Can we set up some PT?" Of course, right? So I end up calling her and texting her, and I get her in for an eval, and she tells me her story. She's like, "Well, I'm currently seeing outpatient physical therapy at a local clinic here in Charlotte because my insurance is still paying for it, her health insurance, right? And her specific insurance only provides 30 visits a year. After that, guess what? It's out of pocket." Oh, wait, I'll get to that. So her diagnosis or her ailment that she was coming in for is she had a pelvic fracture and had to get some metal put in her pelvis in order for it to stabilize. And, then she went through physical therapy. So she reached out, we got her in for an eval, And she continued to see me every other week while she was finishing up her sessions 2 or 3 times a week at this local outpatient big guru named clinic here in Charlotte. So, she would tell me some things that they were doing. So lots of laying on the table and whatnot, stretching, basically. So just recently, a little while back, maybe about a month or so ago, she said, "Hey, my health insurance isn't going to cover any more visits. I used them all up because her accident and her surgery was back in January." Well, right now, when this happened at her recent session, this was in July. She's like, "Yeah, I think I'm just going to come see you because they quoted me a ridiculous, like, cash-based fee of like $400. It was asinine." And my mouth dropped. I was like, oh yeah. And you're just going to lay on a table and just, get stretched when you can easily stretch yourself at home. So, it's just so crazy that, you can have multiple physios in your back pocket. But this patient's particular timeline in her story is if she would not have sought me out and with the referral from her dad, she could be stuck seeing this kind of mediocre physical therapy atmosphere, and paying $400 literally just to get stretched on a table, and not having like a good deep connection with the physio. And but luckily, that wasn't her case. And, the first 3 sessions I had with her, like the first one, it's like, you're getting your eval and getting some baselines, assessments, how well you walk. Oh, and get this, when she saw me the first time, she was walking with a straight point cane. So just a walking stick or a cane. And 3rd session in, no cane. And I gave her some pieces of homework to do. She has access to a pool. So I'm like, you need to be in the pool every day. You do this, and this. So she's been awesome with that. So, now she just sees me like every other week. And then eventually we're making our way down to 1 time a month because I want to give her the Sparkle pager. So I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, I stole this patient from this big guru clinic. I didn't, right? Her dad originally saw me and he was like, "Hey, you need to see Dr. Amy. She was awesome. She helped me out. Connect with her, get on her schedule." And then he or she utilized all of her physical therapy visits for the year and would have to pay out of pocket anyways, but the out-of-pocket price tag at that particular clinic was like $300-400. It's like, whoa, people. So I'm very thankful that her father gave her the referral. So at that moment in time when we first started working together, she had 2 physical therapists she was seeing. So she would see that other physio 2 or 3 times a week, and then every other week she would come see me to get a little bit more hands-on, and then we would do a little bit more functional movement patterns. Suitcase carries, sit to stands, stooping, squatting, single leg split squat, with assistance. So, the double dipping with other physical therapists, I think should totally be a thing, right? Because there are certain ailments that you will instill your trust in with a particular physio, and then something else might pop up that maybe that physio that you're working with are like, "Hey, this doesn't look right," or "Hey, this isn't my expertise." Like for me, pelvic health, I don't really know much about pelvic health or women's health, so I refer out to a colleague of mine. Shout out Dr. Kristen. So, I just think that is a huge missing piece for the public, that it's totally allowed 100% to double dip physical therapists, to have a couple physios to turn to for different things. So I thought that particular patient, her story was very unique, and I've had a couple patients in the past do that. One guy right now that comes into mind, I actually do remote programming for him, and he is status post 2 ACL repairs, almost a third one, but then we've been doing remote training wellness slash like physical therapy home exercise program, and I literally probably have not seen him physically in a year, but we are staying connected remotely through his training. So it's so cool to be able to do something like that, and to literally hand over the Sparkle pager to the patient, because that's definitely a goal of mine through Fortress, is to create that empowerment and know that I'm a resource and you can come and go as you please. So, if you're on the fence or if you have any questions, or maybe you don't know who to go see in your area where you live, I might have a connection. There are other physios out there like myself who are trained in orthopedics and have a pretty solid functional fitness or CrossFit background. So yeah, double dipping physical therapists is totally a major check mark in my book. So hopefully y'all are sipping on some awesome coffee, or maybe you're just heading to bed, but thanks for the listen. I appreciate it. And this is the end of season 5. Season 6, working on some topics, but if you have any areas of interest just to, maybe get my point of view on things, definitely drop it in the comments or shoot me a direct message on the Instagram. The Instagram handle name is Fortress Physical Therapy. And remember, that's a wrap for today's episode, Function with Purpose podcast. For more information on this episode, please check out the show notes within your podcast app. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, or drop your comments and questions below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for the listen. Pursuit, precision, purpose.